This one Stoic habit that will change your life. It's called setting your own standards, an internal switch only you can flip. And today I'm going to show you how to flip it and keep it on. If this hits you in the ribs, prove it. Type switch on in the comments. And if this is the moment you decide to live by your standards instead of someone else's script, subscribe to the channel so you don't drift back to the old setting. Stoicism isn't a quote on a screen. Stoicism is a standard. The Stoics set a standard and made it the law of their inner city. That is what you need. An internal law that you respect more than mood, more than anxiety, more than the approval you've been chasing. Let's say it hard and simple. Your life is the sum of what your standards allow and what they don't. Standards are not vibes. They're the rules you actually obey when it costs. The external world is a storm you don't command. Your judgment is your ship. The Stoics call it the ruling faculty, the hegemonikon, the part of you that decides what to admit, what to reject, what to do next. When you set your own standards, you hand the keys of that faculty to your better self, not to your impulses, not to the outrage economy, not to envy. You are no longer renting your self-respect month to month from other people's opinions. You own it outright, and you pay the mortgage with action. Epictetus makes the move brutally clear. Some things are up to us and some are not. Our opinions, impulses, desires, aversions, ours. Our bodies, our reputations, our status, never ours. Where do standards live? Fully in the field that is up to us. If your standard is I keep my word, then job loss, gossip, praise, silence, nothing moves that. If your standard is I tell the truth, you don't set it down because someone is angry or someone might unfollow you. If your standard is I show up for the work, then you show up when the weather is bad and the motivation is missing because the standard is not a feeling. It is a rule you impose on yourself. If you are pained by anything external, Marcus writes, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it, and this you have the power to revoke. That is a standard. Revoke the judgment that doesn't serve virtue. Revoke the standard that says, I only feel good when they clap. Replace it with, I only feel good when I act with justice, self-control, courage, and wisdom. This is the only scoreboard that matters. When you live by that scoreboard, confidence isn't a mood spike. It's the equilibrium you get when you stop betraying yourself. When you set your own standards, you don't need a hostile world to force you sober. You are sober because you decided sobriety is the standard. You are reliable because reliability is the standard. You speak plainly because plain speech is the standard. You eat like an adult because self-command is the standard. If you only behave when the environment shoves you, your standard is not yours. It belongs to pressure. The Stoic flips that. You pressure yourself, not to punish yourself, but to become free. Think about your faculty of choice. People love to talk about freedom. This is the freedom that matters. The freedom to choose a standard and keep it when it hurts. To say, this is who I am on purpose, and then prove it at 5 a.m., at midnight, when nobody is watching, when nobody claps, when nobody notices. You don't do it for the clap. You do it because the soul you'll be stuck with at night is yours. The Stoics were not against praise. They were against dependency on it. Praise is nice. Your standards are necessary. Here's the ugly truth most people dodge. Your stress comes from violating your own standards or kneeling to standards you never chose. You said you value health and you keep trading it for convenience. You said you value honesty and you keep bargaining with exaggeration. You said you value family and your attention is leased out to little red dots on a glass rectangle. You said you wanted calm and you chase drama like it owes you a favor. The nervous system learns from what you do, not what you say. When your behavior contradicts your standards, your body registers a lie and keeps the tab open. Pay the tab. Align the action with the standard. The anxiety drops because the debt is settled. Marcus tells himself to stop letting his mind be mastered by what isn't here. Standards are how you keep the mind where it can work. You don't owe attention to every notification. You don't owe energy to strangers' anger. You owe your standards your full loyalty. If your standard is I will not speak in malice, then your tongue is under rule. If your standard is I will not be reckless with my time, then you stop pretending you're powerless. You guard your calendar like a city gate. You feel the pull to drift, you pull yourself back. Prosoche, watchfulness, is a standard. It's you as your own sentry. Let's be plain about why this is hard. There's pleasure in blame. When your life hangs from other people's standards, you get 1,000 excuses handed to you daily. He didn't support me. They didn't recognize me. The market was unfair. My parents were strict. My boss is a fool. Some of that might be true. Stoicism doesn't ask you to lie about reality. It dares you to stop letting someone else's failure be your permission slip. If your standard is virtue, then circumstances are just tests. You can fail them. You can pass pass them. You don't control the test, you control the performance. That is the relief and the responsibility. Modern ears hear flow and think ease. The Stoics meant something sterner and truer. Flow means coherence. Your actions match your judgments match reason, your reason matches nature. No internal civil war. How do you get that? By setting standards and enforcing them. You say, I do not lie. Then a lie becomes convenient. You don't argue with yourself for 2 hours. You execute the standard. You say, I don't gossip. Then someone offers you a hot slice of social sugar. You don't rehearse why maybe this one time is fine. You execute the standard. Coherence is hard at first. Then it is freedom. The habit today is not another hack. It is the decision to codify your standards and live by them as if a divine lawgiver is watching, but not a god in the sky, a judge inside your ribs. Epictetus puts it like a dare. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That line is the acid test for standards. If you only hold a standard when it earns applause, you don't have a standard, you have a performance. Be content to be misunderstood. Be content to lose the cheap wins. Be content to pass on a dirty gain. The long win is that you become someone you respect. That's the only person you can never escape. Let's get more concrete without slipping into gimmicks. A standard is a sentence you can say at midnight when you're tired and mean it. I do the work on schedule. I tell the truth even when it burns my tongue a little. I don't abandon my friends. I don't humiliate people to score points. I keep my body under orders. I don't sell my peace for approval. You don't need to make 100. Make a handful that cover your character. Write them. Say them, review them morning and night. When you miss, you don't throw them away. You reconcile your accounts. Acknowledge the miss. Make the amends. Keep the rule. Don't confuse standards with strategy. Strategies can change with evidence. Standards don't change because they are about the kind of person you refuse not to be. The world worships outcomes. The Stoic worships the right process. You want money? Fine. But your standard is that you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't dump your family for a chase. If you get the money with your standards intact, you keep your soul and your cash. If you lose the deal because you stayed honest, you lost something outside of your control to keep the thing you control. That is not a loss. That is a trade a free person makes without flinching. If you want an image to carry with you, use the gatekeeper. Your mind is a city. Your standards are the laws of that city. Everything knocking must pass the gate. Epictetus tells you to examine impressions. Wait, let me see what you are and where you come from. If it's anger dressed as justice, reject it. If it's flattery dressed as friendship, reject it. If it's laziness dressed as rest, reject it. If it's reality asking for courage, admit it. The guard is you. The badge is your standard. The power is that you don't need permission to enforce them. I want to talk directly to the hungry and the exhausted. You may think you're too far gone, too messy, too inconsistent to set standards now. That's the lie your past tells to keep control. The present is lighter than it feels. The Stoic sees that you are always one choice from a new direction. You don't become perfect. You adopt a pattern and run it again and again, imperfectly, persistently. You don't wait to feel like it. Feelings come and go. Standards stay and shape. The first day is harder because you are firing a cold engine. The 20th day is different. The 100th day is automatic. The habit is a structure that holds you when motivation is drunk. There's also the problem of self-hatred disguised as discipline. When you fail your standard, acknowledge it fast and clean. Don't add drama. Don't add excuses. Name it, repair what you can, and get back to the law. Marcus writes like this constantly: admonish, correct, return. Not I am trash, but that was beneath me. Return. Your standards are high because your nature is high, not because you're trying to impress anyone. Treat yourself like a recruit. You're training for a hard mission. Be demanding and fair. Cruelty is laziness dressed as toughness. Bring this into the physical because the body is a fast teacher. If your standard is that your body obeys your mind, you train. You eat to support your mission. You sleep because a dull mind is a liability. You don't turn the gym into a place to advertise insecurity. You turn it into a laboratory for keeping promises. When the set hurts, that's good. It's a stage where you practice not quitting. When you're tired, good. Practice accuracy under fatigue. This bleeds into your work, your relationships, your crisis management. You become a person whose first move is not escape, but engagement, and bring it into your mouth. Your tongue is a weapon and a witness. If your standard is that your words build and don't rot, your conversations change. You stop promising what you won't deliver. You stop lighting fires you don't plan to put out. You stop rehearsing witty, cruelty. You learn silence where silence is strong, and you learn directness where fog would be easier. Seneca says speech should be precise and essential. Marcus says to speak only what is necessary and in season. That's a standard that tears gossip out by the root and plants respect in its place. Relationships? Standards are love with a backbone. You don't weaponize stoicism to become cold. You use it to become trustworthy. You don't let your partner drown in your mood swings. You don't let resentment ferment because you were too timid to say the hard truth. You don't punish with silence. You don't beg with neediness. You practice affection without dependence and boundaries without hostility. Hierocles wrote about circles of concern that expand from self to family to city to human race. Your standards are how you expand without losing yourself. You don't let the outer circles collapse the inner one. I want you to feel the urgency. Life is short, whether you measure it in years or in unkept promises. Memento mori is not a goth accessory. It's a reset button. If you died tonight, the world would take your outcomes and spend them how it wants. The only thing you would take is the kind of person you were becoming. That's the part death can't steal. That's the part you build with standards. Do not leave this to accident. Do not delegate it to culture. Do not wait for a perfect Monday. Set the standard now and step under it. Now the hard part, the part that most people avoid because it exposes whether this is real or a mood. When you set your standards, you will bleed for them. You will miss out on gossip that would have bonded you to people you don't actually respect. You will pass on money that would have come with debt of the soul. You will leave comfort that would have made you soft. You will be thought foolish, intense, different. Wear it like armor. Your armor is not the hard face you put on for other people. Your armor is the ease you carry because your inner judge isn't hissing at you. That ease is rare. That ease is power. Let me circle back to the switch. The internal switch isn't a mystical light. It's a choice you make daily to let your standards dictate your schedule, your speech, your scroll, your sleep, your spending. It's the decision to be the author of your criteria. Flip it now. I don't need permission to live by my standards. I don't need consensus to decide what is honorable. I don't need to feel like it before I do it. That switch is yours. If you don't flip it, someone else will tap it for you. If you flip it once and let it slide, the old settings creep back. Flip it and guard it. Practically, you can sit down after this and write one page titled Standards. Write in simple language that you could defend to a child. No jargon, no theatrics. Then, because we aren't poets for our own journals, you follow them. You review in the morning and at night. You pick one situation tomorrow where you will keep one standard under pressure. Job interview, tell the truth when tempted to overstate. Family fight, don't go for the cheap shot. Workout, don't skip the last set. Screen, don't let your thumbs decide your day. The magic you want is on the other side of boring compliance with what you already know is right. If you're still listening, you're not average. Average wants hacks and excuses. You want sovereignty. If this has helped you flip that internal switch, write switch on in the comments so the message goes further. Share this with someone who is drowning in borrowed standards. And if you want more Stoic philosophy applied with force and clarity, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, the whole lineage, subscribe. We are building a culture of standards here, not a highlight reel. I'll leave you with a picture to carry into the rest of your week. You are walking through a crowded market. People are selling you distractions, self-pity, outrage, false urgency, and small comforts that promise to soften the edge. In your hand is a coin that buys something they can't sell you, your own respect. Spend it once on your standards, and the market loses its grip. The crowd gets louder, then quieter. The noise keeps happening, but you have something better than silence. You have a law inside you, and you keep it. This is the habit. This is the door that closes to chaos. Set your own standards. Flip the switch. Keep it on.